Hi guys, it's Steph here from the Novelty Corner. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 30 of Vlogmas. I am filming my books beside my bed video today. I'm going to confess I'm going to split this video into two parts. You'll get both of them today, but one will be going up later than the other because I am currently in the middle of the Kindle Unlimited weekend readathon. I haven't finished reading yet. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to do the wrap up for the first part of last week and then do the wrap up for the weekend as well and just keep them as separate videos because I've already read the same number of books in the last 2 days as I read the previous week. So otherwise this would be a really long video and it would go up late. So this is just how it works out in my head. I can't believe that this is the last books beside my bed video for the year. That's a little bit of a scary thought, but I'm very much looking forward to 2020 and I will have a video with my 2020 plans coming up very soon for you as well. So part one of this video is for the week of December 22nd to the 26th. I read 5 books during this time. I read 1 young adult book and 4 adult books, a total of 1,114 pages, and my yearly reading total for this part of the week was up to 371 books. I participated in 2 readathons. For this part of the video, the readathon that I was participating in was the Winter Magical Readathon hosted by G from Book Roast, and I'll talk about that as I get to the books. And then obviously I moved into the Kindle Unlimited Readathon, which we'll hear about in the next video. I also watched season 1 of The Witcher 3 times this week. And I also started season 4 of The Expanse. In my defense, I did watch this Witcher once through with my mum because she really wanted to watch it. She's a massive Game of Thrones fan. She needed something like that to tide her over. Oh, and I've also been watching The Mandalorian. I still haven't finished. I've got the last episode to watch. Hopefully I'll do that this week. That was a really long intro. Let's start talking about books, shall we? The first book that I read this week was Riverstone Ridge by Mandy Magro. This was sent to me for review by, I think it's Harlequin. This is 2019 release from Mira. I forget how to pronounce it. And I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It is a small town country romance following Nina, who has just returned to the town she grew up in after running away 16 years earlier. And also the boy that she had a massive crush on growing up, Logan, who she left behind without any warning. Nina was raised by her adoptive mother, Bea, who was also her aunt, and what she discovers upon returning to Riverstone Ridge is that perhaps she didn't know her adoptive mother as well as she thought she did, and there is a little bit of a mystery element woven through this. And Nina and Logan begin to rekindle their romance, but something's stopping Nina from taking it any further. So this is a second chance romance with a bit of mystery thrown into it, and it was a really enjoyable afternoon read. I will say trigger warnings for the death of a child. It does take place off page. It doesn't happen in the timeline of this story, but it is mentioned quite a bit. So if that's something that concerns you, just be wary of that going into it. Then, because if I'm nothing if not predictable, I read The Last Witch by Andrzej Sapkowski, which is book 1 in the Witcher saga. This is the first collection of short stories that pretty much details the history of Geralt and his adventures, and is the inspiration for 4 or 5 of the episodes of the first season of The Witcher. It was originally published in 1993. This edition was published in 2019 by Gallant. It is the Netflix tie-in cover. I'm quite happy to have it because I don't mind the casting of the show. I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars, which, if you know me and my relationship with fantasy books, is pretty damn good. The really interesting thing about this particular short story collection is that you don't get a contents page showing you where the stories take place, because some of the stories are told in their entirety in one chunk, and then there's 1 or 2 other stories that sections of those stories are told in between other stories. So you sort of get a really weird timeline thing going on, a bit like the TV show, to be perfectly honest. I thought this was really interesting and it really fleshed out a lot of the stories from the TV show. Obviously you can't fit everything into a TV episode, so this was a nice way to sort of backfill. I will say I didn't have any problems with watching the show and backfilling sort of myself when I was watching, but this was nice to actually put in the extra details that the author wanted. So I really enjoyed reading this, so much so that I also read The Sword of Destiny, which is the second short story collection following the history of Geralt. And this one takes us up to the end of season 1, which was really cool because I didn't realize that it was both books that were taking place in season 1. Again, this was originally published in 1993. This edition is a 2015 release from Gallant. Both of these are translated. I'm trying to remember who translated The Last Wish. Danuzia Stock translated this copy of The Last Wish, and David French translated this edition of Sword of Destiny. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars as well. What I really liked was that not every story was adapted, so there was room to be surprised by the books and room to be entertained by them. I really liked the characters in the story, and what I will say is that both of these books, you are getting Geralt's perspective, you're not getting the Ciri and Yennefer perspectives that we get in the TV show, so this is purely from his point of view, and that was totally fine with me because I think it helped me to understand his character a little bit better because I'd never read the books and I'm not a gamer, so I've never played The Witcher. So this sort of just backfilled and I really enjoyed it. The last two books that I read up till the 26th of December were novellas. The first one was A Very Merry Caldoris by Lynette Noni. This is a novella that takes place post Vardasia, which is part of her Medoran Chronicles. Vardasia was the last book, so this is set after the events and you really don't want to read it unless you have read the entire series because it's not really going to make sense. Caldoris is the Medoran equivalent of Christmas, and it is the first Christmas post the events that took place the year before in Vardasia, and Alex and her friends are sort of dealing with what that actually means and celebrating with their family and friends, but also dealing with the aftermath of everything that happened in a year earlier. It was fun, it was easy to read, it was light, it's young adult, it was great. It was nice to go back and visit those characters. So this is a 2019 release from Pantera Press. I did read it on my Kindle and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. The last story that I read this week was again a novella. It is No Room at the Inn by Brooke Winters. This is a 2019 release from Kindle and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It is a female Christmas romance with some BDSM elements thrown into it, which I didn't realize actually going into the book. So that was interesting. It is about two characters, Emma and Sylvia, who are inadvertently stuck in the sort of remote hotel where they work overnight due to a bad storm, and they end up having to share a room and share a bed, and everything sort of goes from there. I did read that for the Magical Readathon Winter Challenge to read a book with a plant on the cover. This book has a Christmas tree on the cover, and I think I forgot to mention when I was talking about Riverstone Ridge that I also read this for the Magical Readathon. This was to read a book with pink or purple on the cover, and Logan's shirt is purple. So that is everything that I read in the first half of this week. Stay tuned a little bit later today and I will have my Kindle Unlimited Weekend Readathon, which is very much an adult readathon because it's basically reading steamy romances. And it's been great so far. I'm actually looking forward to talking about some of the books. In the comments below, let me know if you have read any of these books that I've talked about so far, or alternatively, for something different, let me know the highlight of your last week. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day. I'll see you guys very soon for the second part of this video. There is only one more day of Vlogmas and it will be my book haul, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.